The fastest way to increase your annual income by $5,000 to $20,000 has nothing to do with a side hustle. It's negotiating a raise at your current job. Most people never do it. The ones who try often do it wrong. And both groups are leaving serious money on the table that their employer would have been willing to pay them. Today I'm giving you the exact strategy that works: timing, preparation, the conversation itself, and how to handle every response. Let's get into it. Welcome to Off Clock Hustle. We talk a lot on this channel about side hustles and building income streams, and those matter. But before you invest 10 hours a week in a side business, it's worth asking, is there unclaimed income sitting right inside your current job that you haven't picked up yet? Salary negotiation is the highest leverage income move most employees never make. The data on this is consistent. People who negotiate their salary over the course of a career earn significantly more than people with equivalent skills who don't. The gap compounds over decades. A $10,000 raise today is $10,000 every year going forward, affecting your contributions to your 401k, your Social Security baseline, and your negotiating starting point at your next job. The reason most people don't negotiate is fear. Fear of seeming greedy, fear of hearing no, fear of putting the relationship with their manager at risk. Today, I'm dismantling all of that by giving you a strategy that's professional, data-backed, and actually effective. Timing your request is the first strategic decision. Walking in and asking for a raise randomly without reading the context is the first way people undermine themselves before the conversation even starts. The best moments to ask: performance reviews are the most natural time. Your manager is already in the headspace of evaluating your contributions and discussing your trajectory. Bring a data-backed compensation request into that conversation, and it fits the context naturally. After a significant win, you just delivered a major project, landed a big account, solved a critical problem, or shipped something that had real impact on the business. The win is fresh and visible. Your leverage is at a high point. When your responsibilities have grown substantially, you've taken on work that clearly exceeds your original job description, and you're not being compensated for the expanded scope. This is a straightforward case that most managers will understand. When you have an outside offer, this is the most powerful negotiating leverage available. An offer from another employer for more money creates immediate urgency for your current employer to respond. Use this carefully. If they match it and you stay, make sure you're genuinely committed to staying. The moments to avoid: when your manager is visibly stressed, dealing with a team crisis, or in a high-pressure period. The emotional environment is wrong. Immediately after a performance issue, a missed deadline, or a visible mistake. Your credibility needs to recover before your negotiation can succeed. When the company has just announced financial difficulties, layoffs, or budget cuts, the money may genuinely not be there, regardless of your contributions. A successful raise negotiation is a business presentation. You are asking your employer to make a financial investment decision in your favor. You need to justify it with data, not just with time served or with the fact that you want more. Document your contributions from the last 12 months. Not your job duties, your actual results. These are different things. Your job duties are what you were hired to do. Your results are what you actually accomplished. Revenue you influenced or generated. Cost savings you identified. Problems you solved before they became expensive. Clients you retained or developed. Projects you delivered on time and under budget. Initiatives you led that others didn't. Get specific numbers wherever possible. I managed a $2.3 million account lands differently than I worked on accounts. I reduced our onboarding time from 3 weeks to 5 days is concrete and impressive. Vague contributions feel vague in a negotiation. Specific numbers feel real. Research your market rate. Use Glassdoor, LinkedIn Salary, Levels.fyi if you're in tech, and industry-specific salary surveys. Know what people with your title, your experience level, your skill set, and your geographic market are actually earning. If you're underpaid relative to the market, that's objective data supporting your case. If you're already at market, your case needs to lean more heavily on your specific contributions and trajectory. Know your specific number before you walk in. Don't go into this conversation with, "I'd like to make more." That's vague and gives your employer too much control over where the number lands. Go in with, "Based on my research and my contributions over the past year, I'm asking for a salary of X dollars." Have a target, know your floor, and be ready to explain the logic. Don't bring this up in a hallway or casually at the end of a meeting. Set a dedicated meeting. Email your manager, "I'd like to find time this week to discuss my compensation. When works best for you?" This signals professionalism and gives them time to be mentally prepared rather than putting them on the spot. Opening. Acknowledge the working relationship and your commitment. "I've really valued my time here, and I'm focused on continuing to grow in this role. I wanted to have a direct conversation about my compensation." This establishes a positive, collaborative tone rather than an adversarial one. Present your case. Walk through your documented contributions factually. Keep emotion out of it. "In the past year, I've specific accomplishment. I also took on additional responsibilities beyond my original scope." Let the facts do the work. Make the ask, "Based on my contributions and market research showing that your role, at my experience level in this market, typically earns X to Y, I'm asking for a salary of specific number." State it clearly, and then stop talking. Silence after the ask is normal. Don't fill it by negotiating against yourself. If they say yes immediately, great news. Get it confirmed in email follow-up, updated employment letter, whatever your company uses. You probably left some money on the table, but a win is a win. Remember this for next time. "I need to think about it," or "I need to discuss it with HR/leadership." This is the most common response, and it's completely normal. Give them a week and follow up. Wanted to check in on our compensation conversation. Is there any additional information that would be helpful as you're thinking through it? They offer less than you asked. Don't immediately accept. Ask, "I appreciate the offer. Can you help me understand the factors behind that number?" Their answer gives you information. Maybe there's a budget cycle constraint. Maybe they see the value differently. Maybe there's a timing issue you can address. If after the conversation the offer is still below your minimum, you can either accept it, knowing you tried, ask for a specific review timeline when additional compensation will be possible, or use the gap as motivation to accelerate an outside job search. They say no, ask 2 specific questions. What would I need to accomplish to be eligible for the increase I'm asking for? And when can we revisit this conversation? Get specifics on both. A no that comes with a clear roadmap and a defined timeline is valuable information. A vague, "not right now" with no path forward tells you something different about whether this employer values you correctly. The most powerful leverage in any salary negotiation is a genuine competing offer from another employer. If you have a legitimate written offer for more money than you currently make, your employer has to respond to a concrete reality rather than an abstract conversation about your value. The approach: bring the offer to your employer directly. "I've received an offer from company for X dollars. I prefer to stay and continue building here, but the difference in compensation is significant enough that I need to have this conversation." This is direct and professional. It forces a response. Use this carefully. If your employer matches and you stay, you need to actually stay and recommit. Taking a match and then leaving within a few months damages your professional reputation significantly. And never bluff a fake offer. This is a small world in most industries, and getting caught in a fabrication is a career problem. No is not the end of the conversation. It's a data point. When your manager says no to a raise, the right response isn't to accept it silently and go back to work feeling demoralized. The right response is to stay calm and ask a specific question. "I understand. Can you help me understand what I'd need to accomplish in the next 6 months to make a raise at that level possible?" This does several things. It signals that you're still committed to growing in the role. It gives your manager an opportunity to give you actionable criteria rather than a vague, "not right now." And it creates a documented conversation that you can refer back to in 6 months. You mentioned that hitting X would support a raise conversation. I've hit X. If the answer to "what do I need to do" is vague, just keep doing good work, or "it's not in the budget right now," that's also useful information. It tells you either that your manager doesn't have clear criteria or that the organization genuinely can't afford to pay you more. Both situations have implications for what you should do next. In cases where the conversation repeatedly goes nowhere, despite your clear performance and market research, the most effective negotiating tool you have is competing offers. If a recruiter contacts you or you decide to actively interview, an offer from another company at your target rate is the strongest possible leverage for a raise conversation with your current employer. Many people get raises this way that they'd been unable to get through internal advocacy alone. It shouldn't work that way, but it does, because it introduces real competition into a situation that was previously theoretical. A salary raise is the most obvious negotiation, but it's not the only one. When your employer can't budge on base salary, other elements of your compensation are often more flexible. Bonus structure. Can you negotiate a performance bonus tied to specific metrics you control? If you hit X, you receive Y. This gives your employer performance insurance. They pay more only if you deliver more, and gives you upside beyond your base salary. Remote work flexibility. 2 additional work-from-home days per week might be $5,000 to $10,000 per year in commute cost, time savings, and quality of life, even if your base salary doesn't change. Additional vacation days. Easier to grant than cash, easier to use. Professional development budget. A $2,000 to $5,000 annual training and certification budget can be worth significantly more in career advancement than its face value. Equity or profit sharing. In smaller or growth stage companies, equity compensation can represent substantial long-term value. If your employer can't raise base salary, ask about equity. A raise conversation that starts on base salary and broadens to total compensation is often more successful than one that insists on base salary alone. Raise negotiation done right. Time it carefully. Document your contributions with real data and specific numbers. Research your market rate thoroughly. Walk in with a specific number and a professional business case, and handle every possible response with calm and preparation. Explore total compensation when base salary has limits. The 30 minutes of conversation is worth having. Every year you collect the higher salary, that's SING. The conversation is paying you back again. Over a 10-year career, one successful raise negotiation that gets you $7,000 more per year is worth $70,000, before accounting for the raises, promotions, and retirement contributions that compound on top of the higher base. Have you ever negotiated a raise? Did it work out? Drop your experience in the comments. Real stories from real people are the most valuable content on this channel. If you're dealing with a specific negotiation situation right now, describe it and I'll give you my take. Subscribe and I'll see you next time. Script 031, Off Clock Hustle, Negotiating a Raise.